Hello and half a day everyone, and welcome back to Cooking in Pink Boots. Today I'm going to show you how I make Guam's famous red rice. Alright, now I'm going to start off by measuring out 3 cups of rice. And that's going right into my pot. And the pot that I'm going to be using is kind of thick. You don't want a light pot, you want a heavy pot. I've tried cooking it in a thinner pot before and it does nothing but burn the bottom of the rice way before it's cooked. So yeah, you want to look for a thicker pot. And the rice I'm using is Chamorro's rice, but you can make Chamorro red rice with just about any rice. Jasmine rice, long grain rice, it's totally up to you. Now I'm going to go ahead and wash this rice. And this is the way we wash it. Alright, strain it out. And we want to repeat that process until the water is nice and clear. All right, now once it gets that clear, where you can see right through, you can go ahead and strain it out. Usually I put onions and green onion. Today I'm only putting bacon in it. All right, let me give that a rinse. Okay, now I'm just going to set this to the side. Start off with frying some bacon. All right, now I'm just going to add a couple of tablespoons of vegetable oil to my pot. I know, I didn't have time to thaw it out. It was a last minute decision to add the bacon. All right, and once all that bacon is done, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull them all out. And I'm gonna chop it up. You wanna chop it up into little tiny pieces. And while I'm chopping that up, I'm gonna set my pot to the side where the oil's gonna cool down just a bit. All right, so I got my oil cooled down just a little bit, still kind of warm. I got my bacon all chopped up, and now we're gonna start cooking. For my red rice, I'm gonna be using Mamacita's achote powder. Now, most times we use the achote seeds. This just saves you a lot of time. It is a little bit more costly for the package. It's about 99 cents a pack, but I mean, it's not too bad considering all I use is like a package and a half for this amount. If you wanted a darker red color and more of the achote flavor, you can use 2 packages. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in my rice that I had washed. You don't want it sitting too long. Then I'm going to add in my achote powder. All right, and if it's really dry, you might want to just add in a bit of water. Now the ratio for the rice would be 1.5 of rice to 2 cups of water. You can do it that way, or you can just measure it the way I'm going to show you with your finger. And I'm sure a lot of you do it that way already. All right, now once the powder is all dissolved down with the rice, you want to be sure there's no powder, or else you're going to have lots of tiny little clumps of achote. You can go ahead and season it. And I'm going to go ahead and season it with a couple of teaspoons of salt. You want it to have flavor. I'm not using MSG or Aggi. I'm just using salt, some black pepper, some onion powder, and garlic powder, and I'm going with a teaspoon of everything else. Except for the salt, I'm going with 2 teaspoons. Most times I use a fresh onion and garlic in there, but it's kids' request today. Like I said, you can measure it as the bag says, or this way, which I am accustomed to. And I just measure from the top of the rice to the first line of my middle finger. Now, don't go all the way down to the bottom of the pot, just right there on the top of the rice. All right, now I got my heat set to high. And another thing before I forget, had I not fried the bacon first and added all the vegetable oil, I would be putting about 3 tablespoons of oil in here, vegetable oil. It does loosen up the red rice and give it a nice fluffier, more smoother texture, so you don't want to skip on that. If you're not going to use bacon fat, you'll add in about 3 tablespoons of oil. All right, now I'm just going to go ahead and cover it until it boils. A lot of people have different ways of doing this. Some people leave it uncovered until it boils. I cover it until it boils. Okay, now it's been boiling for about 6 minutes on high heat. Now I'm going to go ahead and open it up and give it a stir. Alright, you want to stir it just to be sure the bottom doesn't burn. She's excited for the party. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring my heat down to medium high. And I'm going to cover it back up. Now notice the pot that I'm choosing is pretty large for the amount of rice that's in there. You're going to constantly stir, and you're going to want that room for all the steam to cook that. With your choti being in there, it's going to be more chances not having enough steam. So you want about 2 inches from the rice to the top. All right, it's been another 5 minutes. It's starting to dry. Lowering down my heat to medium. And I'm going to go ahead and give it another stir. Okay, it's a little hot in there. It's looking good though. Alright, so my heat is lower to medium. And you want to be sure that you kind of like scrape the bottom, just like that. So it doesn't stick. Now, this is where I like to just kind of like swipe my finger over the tip of the spoon. Be sure to wash your hands and see if there's enough salt, garlic, onion powder, black pepper, all that stuff, because it's easier to do it now than to wait till it's all done. So, kind of looking like that. I'm going to put the lid right over it and give it a few minutes to cook a little bit more before I add in the bacon. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. And it's starting to dry up at the sides. One more stir. It looks ready for that bacon. Go ahead and add that right in. All right, so we got that bacon in there. And guys, this is Chamorro red rice. Oftentimes it gets mistaken for Mexican red rice. And I love both of them. Mexican rice I love with Mexican food, and Chamorro rice I love with everything else. It is one of my absolute favorites, guys. And it's not a party on the island if you do not have red rice. Put the lid on, and I'm going to lower my heat down. As a matter of fact, guys, here, let me show you something that always guarantees me nicely cooked red rice. A sheet of aluminum foil. The steam, it ensures the steam will cook it all the way through, regardless if you're off of the measurements by a little bit or you overboiled it on a higher heat. It'll fix it. Somehow it fixes it. Aluminum foil, like duct tape, fixes everything. Now, once that foil gets on and the lid is shut, we can now reduce our heat down to like a medium low heat, and just let that cook for another 10-15 minutes. All right, now after about 10 minutes on a low heat, oh, there it is. Let's see what we got here. Get that. And here we go, guys. Chamorro red rice. I really do hope you try this out. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate the support. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed today's video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you, and see you soon, Maasi.